Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. So I'm getting smart here, and I've got the tablet version part of my Microsoft Surface. I just got my Microsoft Surface. I'm going to be doing a review. Let me know if you want me to do a review on it. I'm not sure if I'm keeping it yet. I think I probably am. As you know, if you've been following me, I'm always switching out my computers. I'm going from like Mac to Windows constantly. I will go between either one, whichever is best at the time. I'm looking for that perfect system, and I don't know. When I saw the Surface Book, I was like, okay, this is pretty dang close to what I want. So I'm testing it out. We'll see how it goes here, and I'll do a review. If you want me to do a review, leave a comment below. Let me know, and I'll do a review of what I think. I've only had it for less than a week now, so I'm not quite ready yet. But pretty soon, look for that coming up here on this channel. Anyway, so I got this question that is kind of a difficult question. I figured I'd try to address this here. Obviously, I can't say any names in this case because of how sensitive this potentially could be. But this gentleman who emailed me, he basically is working at this job where he works in a specific industry, and he's on his own, right, developed this algorithm that is pretty revolutionary in his field, and it's something that would really benefit his employer, right? Which is an e-commerce employer. And so basically, he kept working at this thing. He said he followed the process and didn't surrender, and he actually accomplished this thing that he thought might be impossible to do or very difficult to do. And then so he wants to know now whether he wants to give the project to his employer now that he's got this finished, because he did this all in his own time, right? And if he wants to, he says here, the problem I face now is that I am hesitating whether I actually want to give away the project to my employer. That would mean I would provide them with all those nights and weekends of hard work for free. Anyway, I think that could benefit me. He says, one, I could keep working in deep learning, which is where this project is, so that it will no longer be something I do after work when my energy levels are already low. So like I said, he's been doing this after work, and this has been kind of a hobby project, getting to work into deep learning. Number two, I'd be able to add to my CV, resume for you in the US, that I have experience in deep learning, and therefore I could open new professional opportunities. On the other side, the project as it is developed now could also allow me to take a risk and start my own company. That company could be, and I won't go into the details here, but I actually think that the technology has tons of other applications for specific industries. The problem is that currently I have no contacts with companies that would need the technology, and I'm actually a bit lost on how I could start a company on my own. I want to take a wise step. I don't want my company to own what I think is a nice technology I created that would not benefit me in a substantial way. On the other side, I would also take as much profit as possible from this experience, and if that means giving away for free, I'll go for that. So let me see if I can address this. So this is definitely a difficult situation, but this is what I'd kind of suggest here. So just to summarize, we've got this technology. It's been developed on the side, right? And it could benefit his company, but it could benefit other companies. It's sort of this really cool thing that's in deep learning. So, what do you do here? Should you go to your boss and be like, hey, I developed this thing, it's totally gonna revolutionize this industry, or like give you this super advantage, like can we make this a project and I start working on it at work and get paid to work on it? Or do you go to your boss and try to sell it, or do you start your own company? What do you do? So here's what I would suggest here, right? Because you did work on this on your own, right? I hope you've documented that, because if you haven't, you might run into some trouble. But let's assume that you have. In this situation, I don't think that starting a company on your own with this technology is a good idea for a couple of reasons. One of them, like you said, you don't have the contacts, you don't know the people, like you're not going to make money off of it immediately. This is a hard thing to sell. It's not something simple, right? So and it'll take some time to ramp it up. So you can't just quit your job and start doing this. At the same time, I don't think you should just give this to your company, right? Because there's a lot of potential in this. This is something that you've developed, and if it really takes off, you're really going to regret this. So here's what I would try to do. I think I would try to do a licensing deal with your company so essentially, and this would kind of give you the best of both worlds. What you would do with this is you would basically license your technology and your software to your company for a certain fee, and then you could actually work on it at work. You could work out that agreement as well, that you'll implement it for them and work on it. And you might have to sever the employee relationship there and just become a contractor and then have them pay you an hourly rate and then pay you a license or royalty fee. You might be able to keep the employee relationship intact, I don't know. And then what you could do is you would still own the rights to this. You could probably file a patent for this. You might want to, and again, what I'm telling you here, I was going to say this at the end, but I might as well say it now, is I would go get the advice of an intellectual property attorney to see how to proceed with this. That's where it might be worth making the investment, just to see, like, look, here's what I got. I want to do some kind of a licensing, and they might even be able to negotiate the licensing agreement with your company. Go about this the right way, and you could have something here, right? So if you do it that way, then essentially what would happen if this works out is that you would get paid a royalty from your company for using that technology, whatever you negotiate there. You probably would still have your job or be able to work as a freelancer for them or as a consultant. And then you'd still have the rights to this. Hopefully you'll file some kind of patent or something to protect this intellectual property. And then you can now market this out to other companies, to other industries. Maybe you can even make a deal. Maybe your company is large enough that you're working for now that they have contacts in other industries and that they could actually help you, and you could have a secondary royalty. So they're licensing and then they're relicensing, or that they're doing some kind of referral. You can work out some kind of arrangement. It depends on on how much on board they are with this thing and what they see. So I think that's how I would go about it. I mean, if you go and you just give it to your company, okay, that's not horrible, right? And maybe it'll get you to be able to work on deep learning and stuff. But if this is really, from what you've described to me, like if this is something that is really doing what you say it does, and I haven't seen this before. Again, I can't divulge the details here. I wish I could, but anyway, if it really is something that is very unique and very valuable, then I would definitely try and go with the licensing route. I just wouldn't try to start my own company right from the bat without doing some kind of licensing, because it's going to be hard. You're not going to be able to make income, and it's going to be, I mean, if you can find investors that could invest in it, that's another route to go, but that's a long and difficult path as well. So anyway, hopefully this helps you. This is, or any of you out there that, this is just a good question in general. I think if you develop something on your own, how do you go about this? And, I think a licensing type of thing, again, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice, but that's what I would try to do. I would try to consult with a lawyer. I would try and do something like that. Anyway, if you have a question for me, email me at john@simpleprogrammer.com. Keep it short if you don't mind. Seems like the more I say that, the longer questions I get. But anyway, I would love to answer your question, and I will talk to you next time. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care.